who you become, who you are in the future, is made up of the daily patterns in your life, your daily habits, your daily routines, what you do, eat, listen to, who you're around. That's what's creating your future self. This week, we have an opportunity to really look and finalize the changes we want to make in our daily life so that those patterns, habits, routines are truly supporting and creating the person that we want to be. We're leading up to a full moon on the 7th. This full moon is really the illumination of how much work have you been doing as far as creating a life that's going to support how you want to feel, who you want to be. So in this week where we're leading up to the full moon, we're still in that juicy time of a month where we're able to begin things, start things, initiate. Now, if you've been watching these videos, you know that this is very specific what we're initiating in these weeks because we have Mercury retrograde. It goes direct on the 12th. We have Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto all retrograde. So what we're beginning is really has everything to do with a reassessment of the past. It can even mean past projects or relationships you're reinvigorating. So beginnings are happening, but they're tied to the past. So it even works this way where like you're beginning a new habit or routine because you're letting go of habits and routines in your past that you realize don't work. One of the things we've really been working with the last 2 weeks is this way in which we love and relate to other people, how we love and value ourselves, what our definition of beauty is. It's being challenged. It's being challenged by a couple of different things. One, a fantasy of what love is, what relationships should look like. It's like there's this bar set that isn't realistic that we've all sort of drank the Kool-Aid on. And that idea, that fantasy that, you know, we're sort of fed from the time that we were born, well, it's not real, it's not working, and we see that everywhere, right? Relationships are difficult because people are growing at different rates, and there's just so many changes going on at a societal level. This idea of the happily ever after is something that a lot of people are confronting and seeing, okay, this is a complete illusion. So what do I really want? Who do I really want to be in my relationships? What am I actually looking for? Right? This is a question of where monogamy comes into play. Is it possible? Is it real? Polyamory. This is where a lot of people are being celibate right now in record numbers. So we're understanding that the past of what we were taught love and relationships should be isn't working. And there's a grief and a mourning that comes up with that, you guys, where you've been fed a certain idea that you can never actually achieve. So you're always feeling less than, unworthy. And that's then how we're coming into all of our relationships, friendship, work, romantic, whatever, familial. The other part where this idea of how we love, what we value, how we relate, what we find beautiful, our relationship to the sensual in our life is also being challenged by the planet Saturn, which is all about the material world. It is about structure. It is about discipline. And it's asking us, okay, are you willing to put in the work to create a new structure from the past destruction that isn't created because of a fantasy, but is married with ideals around how energetic the camaraderie is, how energetic the compatibility is. So what we're defining as the structure of a relationship and the dream we have around relationship, it's just super challenged right in the middle of summer. You know, I always say, like, summer we think we're going to be like, woo, and then like July always comes around, and inevitably there's always tricky astrology in July, cosmic weather that can trigger certain things in us, right? The cosmic weather isn't making things happen, it's triggering things within us because we're tuning forks, and the celestial bodies are also frequencies like we are, and it all is working together ultimately to help you be your best self and create your best life. But that takes discipline. Holding an intention of who you want to be is the first place to start. Do you want to be someone who gives back? Do you want to make the world a better place? These are all questions that are coming up. Do you want to make the world more beautiful? We don't have power over all of it, but you do have power over what you give, energetically and otherwise. So as we have all of this, like, oh gosh, how are we supposed to relate? Who are we in our relationships? What isn't working? What lies have we been fed that we're still eating on? Where do we want to be truthful? You know, the system is set up where you can be in a relationship and completely be living two lives. The very nature of what we're dealing with social media and the internet and everything for relationships, it's been really difficult because you can be hiding all sorts of things and still be showing up in a relationship and that person not know. These things are starting to take their toll on people's psyches because we're in a phase of evolution that is spiritual. And where you're incongruent, how your actions affect other people is more and more going to be affecting you. It's kind of like that idea of instant karma. It is speeding up. You know, a lot of people talk about time speeding up and this and that, and there's, you know, a bunch of talk about that in June about how it's actually happening. And it speeds up also the consequences of our actions. And so to balance all of this out, after, you know, the nature of how you love your relationships, what you want in relationships, as all of that has been challenged, we now move into a phase where that the very nature of what you love, how you love, and what you want is being given this huge boost of benevolent energy, which is why it's so important that you did become thoughtful around what's working and what's not working and how you relate. What's your part in your relationships? Failure or growth. And I also talked about how, you know, as I say failure, and yet no relationship is a failure when they end, because the whole point is to be learning and growing with each other. This Venus-Jupiter alignment that I'm talking about, that we're heading into, that hits mid-August, can really bring a sense of, I know exactly what I need to be outputting to create good feelings in my life that are truthful and coming from my heart. I know exactly how I need to be giving back to the world so that I feel in my purpose. The idea of identity is up for evaluation, and allowing oneself to, as I've been harping on about, shed the roles that we accepted, the identities that we accepted to fit into our family or the community or the church or the workplace. It's really all sort of been thrown out of the basket. And so we're being asked, who am I if I don't have to adhere to any of that past? You are allowed to create yourself every day. Every morning that you wake up, you are renewed. This is why I don't like labels, and I feel like we're in a society that just loves a label. I don't want to be pinned down. I don't know how I'm going to be feeling about, myself tomorrow, or what I would want to wear, and how I'm going to react to what's going on, right? We also are in a society where it's like you have an opinion and you got to stick to it. Well, what about if new information comes in, which is constantly happening on a second-by-second basis? So your opinions and your alliances. So many people stay in relationships because they're like, well, this is who I am. When those relationships are ultimately unhealthy and unfruitful, people have grown apart. We are here to grow. It's the whole point of Earth School. For your soul to expand through experiencing the human emotions, the spectrum of human emotions, which are energy and motion, which are frequencies. And as you grow, you change. And as you grow, what you want, what you think, how you think changes. And when you stop changing, that's when you die. Now, I mean that in a symbolic way. But who wants to be stagnant? It's got to be very hard right now, if that's what you want, to remain the same. Because we're being inundated. And the positive benefits of this inundation of technology, of time speeding up, of information, is that you enrich your soul so that you have more to give. This full moon illuminates, creates situations, going to trigger situations where you're really asked, what do you really believe? What are your values? What do you believe? And it's going to show you where you're believing other people's ideals and where it fits and where it doesn't. This is good. Because as Venus and Jupiter conjunct in August, you want to be really clear. Because tapping into the juicy goodness that's coming in with this Jupiter-Venus conjunction, you have to be able to articulate what you want. It has to be specific. You have to be able to put it into words, whether that's in your journal, in a conversation, in a text, in an email, whatever. Communicating is so essential to tapping into the good energy that's coming in. This gift we're getting for all of the intense work that this summer has suggested to us. If you've been doing the work to really ask yourself, who am I in this circumstance? What is this role I'm playing? Does this fit me anymore? Did this ever fit me? These are big questions. You know, in the heat, as the heat is going to come up physically, there's going to be a sense of like, oh, how do I take action on this? How do I take action on this? As I started at the beginning, your daily patterns, habits, and routines, that's how we start. You're like, I want to be a billionaire, Lynn. I want to be the CEO of a huge company. Okay, how does the CEO, billionaire of a huge company live their daily life? What are their habits? What are their routines? What do they eat? How do they take care of their body? Who you want to become, you will have to create a blueprint of how you live your day and night. That's how you get there. It's the small, specific steps that build up over time. And that's how you actually create selfhood that's going to last, that's grounded, that's choice-based, right? Not something other people are telling you you are or should be. And always, it's okay to not know. When you say, I don't know who I am, I don't know what I want, you open up all sorts of energy avenues toward you that will show you. What a humble place to be. I don't know. We're filled in a society that tells us we should know what's right. We should know who's who. What are the facts? It's just not that black and white anymore. It never really was. It's okay to not know. It's okay to be discovering. And because change is the only constant, the more you push it away, the harder it's going to come in and reroute your life. So open up to refinding what you love, what you value, to experimenting with how you communicate in your relationships, how you communicate in general. I say this to our clients. I think a lot of us need to be more quiet, more still, and better listeners. That will benefit our relationships, of course, but on a larger level, to be able to hear our heart speak to us, our higher self speak to us, God, or whatever it is that you commune with. It can't speak to us if we're constantly outputting. This Jupiter-Venus conjunction in August is like big messages coming in. Messages that really begin to reroute your life in a positive way. So we have some, eclipses in September, which we're already going to be feeling that energy in August. This full moon on the 7th, I want to encourage you guys to take some time as we lead up to it and during it on the 7th to sit still and allow inspiration to flow in. You are worthy. And you don't have to stay the same. You get to explore the depths of who you are. You get to dream your own dream. As we discard these societal illusions that we've been fed and taught that no longer work, we're creating space for ideas and inspiration that will move us into what does work for us. This is the Weekly Woo, everyone. Thank you so much for viewing. If you are watching on Instagram, please give us a heart and a comment. Are you feeling this challenge? And are you excited for what the energies of August are going to bring? If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe so you know when these videos come out. You can also press the notification bell. And of course, on YouTube, the algorithm will send you back to me if you leave comments. And I would love to hear what you guys think about these videos. If you're watching on Instagram, we do have a subscription area. And as always, I'm going to be going over to Patreon right now and taking a deeper dive into these energies, going to see what our animal ally, our mineral ally, and our plant ally are this week, and just look deeper at the energies and see what comes up. We'll wormhole over there into all sorts of things. Please join us. Thank you so much.